This sort of has a doubling effect too if you read it with Janelle's Red Yaya, because Danny sort of orchestrates the stage towards the end of it. And in my own memory, I had a false memory of her reading lines with Danny and misspeaking and rebelling against his words, but that was actually in Janelle's Red Yaya as opposed to this play, where there's multiple barbs, like in Norwegian there's multiple bits, although this doesn't get to the ludicrous extent of having hundreds and hundreds of bits in one room. So speak a bit about that aspect. Also talk about her relationship with Hester. They're sort of just gossiping and bitching with each other. There's an amusing scene when they're at some dull meeting and they have some sort of dream where the manager bends one of the employees over and starts throttling her.
Yeah, again, this has been a couple of months since I wrote the play. Hester is her best friend, and oftentimes I have, even from the very first play with the Megan Morrow and Valerie Vivello characters, both have friends. Usually it's a female friend. Usually it's the good friend, or it's the pretty girl and the ugly friend kind of thing. In this one, Barbara is the ugly one physically. The other one is not particularly good looking, but she's probably a little bit better looking. And, you know, they're the typical kind of characters that, you know, just sit around in offices bitching about this and that. They never do anything to change their lives. And whatnot. Now, because I don't want to block the screen and bring up the actual play. She has a resentment against her brother because her brother doesn't have a speech impediment, and I'm trying to remember now. Like about 2/3 or 3/4 into the play, that's when Danny, I think, starts. He takes away her impediment and allows her to speak normally, right?
2/3 through the play?
Isn't it?
In his first interaction with her, he takes away the impediment.
He does? Okay. Well, whenever it happens, Janelle's Red Yaya in the play I just finished yesterday. I'm fresher in my mind here, and because I don't have my desktop now because my old computer died. I'm limited, but I'm trying to think now. What is the main crux that happens between them in the office? Hester and Barbara.
Hester and Barbara?
Yeah.
Well, it is mostly just bitching and gossiping about their coworkers. I think the main crux of it is just to show them as the shrews that they are.
And the thing is, it does in a sense. This play is what would the Mel Hardenberger character from A Woman of No Consequence be like if she was a little uglier and a little more detached. Now, it's interesting because the Mel Hardenberger character sort of, and in the play I just finished yesterday and sent you, it's interesting because you have the Mel Hardenberger character, you have the Baba character, a.k.a. the Blob, as she's called, and then there's also, the character in the play I just finished today, which one was, yesterday, and God, I'm losing. What's the main character in the last play name? And this
Faith, Charity.
Right. Faith, Charity, and Lisa Bjorkman. So these are all characters that are repulsive and shunned by their peers. Mel goes into almost total reclusion. Baba comes out and becomes sort of like the Hulk and rages against the world, whereas the Lisa character in the last play sort of just takes everything. And so you have these three characters that have very similar personal arcs that we can determine, and yet they have three different ways of handling it. And the Baba character is the most repulsive of the three of them. And she, in a sense, I don't think she has, I mean, you mentioned the Emmy character from A Rose for Emily, and as repulsive and nasty as she is, in certain ways. She also has a sweetness. There are a few scenes where we get that she's actually, a person who feels things, but I don't think I have a scene like that for Baba. Baba is just sort of like this raging monster.
No, you're always rooting for her to die in the play. some ailment to happen upon her.
Yeah.
The thing too with this play, it's interesting that you mentioned those three. Their plights are different too. Lisa's is probably the most undeserved because she doesn't really do anything to anyone. She just is off into her own little world, and it's almost as if it's like a Kafkan experience where Christy Morgan and a few others are just coming and tormenting her.
Yeah.
But Barbara usually brings it upon herself.
Yeah.
In all instances of any plight that she experiences, she resents Danny, yet he has more reason to resent her for his mistreatment of them. I mean, she was getting back at her mistake of trifling with the wrong person.
Yeah.
I did want to mention, since you said that this was earlier mentioned in True Life, I was talking about this with Thomas, and I was saying that True Life, it's interesting when you look at these plays versus True Life, not necessarily just in how you incorporate the poems, but also how True Life is much more oscillation between the past and then into the diegetic present. Whereas this one, you have characters that did show up in True Life, and it's more of a projection outward of what their future would be.
Yeah.
It's almost like an alternate fiction in that sense.
Yeah, Laura Woods, who's on the E-list, who's this young poet girl in Ireland, 3 or 4 weeks ago emailed me because she'd finished reading the Vincetti Brothers, and the Lisa Bjorkman and the Mullaally sisters in the play we'll finish up on, the play I finished yesterday, appear, I think, in chapter 52 or 53 of the Vincetti Brothers. And, they're where they have the bay window and the kids are eavesdropping on them and whatnot. And it ends up differently. That Vincetti Brothers chapter has the Lisa character called Emily there. Emily ends up as the real life person I based it on. She ended up married and had a kid and big and fat and on welfare and whatnot. Whereas this Lisa character, we don't go that far into the future. That play is basically set in the late 70s. We don't find out, there is no future in that play. That is confined to the 1970s, the late 70s. And so there are those differences. But I think Laura had pointed out how it's interesting to sort of compare the characters as they appear in the certain plays with counterpart characters, their de facto equivalents in True Life or in the Vincetti Brothers or in other works that I've done. Because it's obvious she was using the character of the voice, the person who is that what's his name, Gino Vincetti comes across in the Meat Locker, and then I have the first of my Tetramal plays, and that character also reappears, or also first a character like that appeared in True Life. So there are 3 instances of that one real life incident that happened to me, told 3 different ways. This is, I think I do have a brief mention. I don't know if I have a full, chapter or memoir of the Baba character, but I think I do mention her character in one of the True Lives.